There is nothing like sport. The drama, the emotion, pulsating finish, the final the IPL wanted, the final the IPL got, the final the IPL deserved. Mumbai Indians have beaten the Chennai Super Kings. It has taken every ball of the 40 overs to decide the winner. Kieron Pollard on his 32nd birthday is unbeaten on 41 runs that he crucially got were just enough. Shane Watson thought he could have bought a lottery ticket and won whatever he wanted today. In the end, a bizarre run out, and that follows a bizarre scene of events with drama for literally every over that sees MS Dhoni's Chennai Super Kings just a run short from Rohit Sharma's Mumbai Indians. So look back at that game on ESPN Cricinfo Match Day T20. Daniel Vettori, Deep Das Gupta, Ajit Agarkar. Let me get first thoughts. Ajit, you can go first. Wow.
Just two quality bowlers stood up for Mumbai when they most needed it. In the 2 overs, I don't think there are any team has two of those sorts. I mean, Malinga, after getting whacked in that 3rd over, to come and bowl that over. There were lots of mistakes from both teams, some dropped catches, run-outs, which you sometimes expect in a final. But those 2 overs at the end just defined why Mumbai is such a, on paper and just performance-wise, is a better team than most teams around in the IPL.
Okay, so 2 bowlers, high-quality bowlers under pressure. Ajit's first takeaway. Deep, your first thoughts after that result?
Well, a great game,
Yeah.
superb game, but yeah, I mean, it was like, I guess, a little bit of batting as well. Obviously, the bowling was very good, as far as Ajit mentioned, but batting again in the middle overs, it looked pretty comfortable the way they started Chennai, but then in the middle overs, again, they lost their way.
Daniel, first thoughts?
So many incidents.
Yeah.
So many things. We haven't even spoken about Quinton de Kock leading through 4 byes. It was
The drop catches.
amazing, the drop catches. So in the end, Mumbai held their nerve where both teams had an opportunity to win it, and also the fact that Watson played so well. He was brilliant. I mean, to get himself in and then almost get it done, and then a bizarre run out. I mean, there's a number of things to talk about and discuss.
Yeah, that highlights package could go on as long as the game itself, which has also gone on 4 hours nearly. But if you look at the drama and the gripping contest that it was, it's probably entertainment worthwhile for every minute of those 4 hours. It makes Mumbai take an unprecedented 4th IPL title. They are now the most successful team in the history of the tournament. If it was up to them, they'd play the next IPL directly in 2021, because 13, 15, 17, 19, that's how the Mumbai Indians like to roll. Spare a thought for the Chennai Super Kings. What a season they've had. They nearly defended their title so successfully. They nearly became the only team to do it twice, defend a successive IPL title. But they've fallen short, and yes, like Dan Vettori says, just so many incidents. We've already listed 10, and we haven't even mentioned MS Dhoni's run out in that. So we'll come to all that in our review of the game. But we're going to start with Lasith Malinga's last over. And as Ajit Agarkar saw, one ball after the other of that over, he just said, what an over. 3 overs for 42 before that. Just 8 to get, 8 to defend in that last over.
And against Watson.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't as if there was a wicket that had fallen and he had got a batsman who had just come in. He's done it most of his career. They gave Krunal Pandya over and then got Bumrah in after Krunal got hit.
Yeah.
It tells you that Bumrah's in the pecking order ahead of Malinga at this stage. Eventually comes up and produces that over when Mumbai needed it, Malinga. So, incredible. I don't think he missed a single ball of what he wanted to do in that particular over. And we've seen over the years that he perhaps doesn't have the Yorker that he used to, but just produced it under pressure, just tucked Watson in. That run out obviously helped, and that last ball, what a brave ball. I mean, that's the one thing I think off air we spoke. Dan said, slower ball, and we said, I don't think it's a good idea. Just comes and beats the batsman. I know it's Shardul Thakur, but to execute it under pressure, I mean, it's a guy who's done it a million times in his career. Does it exactly when the team needs it.
You say that he's done it so many times, but there might be something in this season that'll give Malinga more satisfaction. Not sure he's had the best IPL season, while he's been impactful. Just the drama, how he was brought in, didn't play last year, up and down Colombo and Mumbai in the first half. Cried literally in that game against RCB. Almost cried about defending in that controversial fashion at Chinnaswamy, and he does that.
I'm sure he must have gone through a lot of ups and highs and lows in this tournament. I'm sure there have been times where he's actually asked the question whether he's actually, is still got it in him or not. But I think again that last over has kind of defined what he's all about right through his career. Under pressure, last over, that last ball. I mean, that kind of defines the legend that Malinga is.
Okay, let's go ball by ball and let's start with the last ball. I don't know how harsh you'd like to be of a number 8 in Shardul Thakur, but would you have had a quick word with him if you were the non-strike, or what would you have said if you had the chance to just whisper into Shardul Thakur's ear? What are you trying to do on that last ball?
I think you're just trying to get bat on it.
Yeah.
I think a single's good enough to get you in the super over, and anything above that's a bonus. So Shardul Thakur looked to hit it for 6, so that was his option. But I think it was getting bat on, running, and you never know. You can make there could have been a mistake, an overthrow, you get 2. So I mean, it was a lot of pressure on Shardul Thakur, a lot of pressure on the umpire as well, a lot of pressure on the umpires throughout the game. They had so many decisions to make, so many crucial parts in the game, but. Yeah, you just want to get a little bit of bat on it. That's all
I
you
think
want.
it was deceived as well with that ball. Even though it's a number 8 batsman, I'm not sure he thought that a slow ball was coming his way. Most bowlers would, maybe not a length ball, but try and bowl a Yorker, and it's a brave ball because Yorker you invariably get something on it, a bat or a shoe or a pad or something, and gets you that single. Don't quite blame. You shouldn't blame.
No, we're not going to
give credit to
We're not
Malinga
gonna
what
blame.
he's done. Yeah.
We're going to go 2 balls back, and we're going to go to the Shane Watson run out. And I'm going to ask Dan Vettori first to try and explain what's happened with the batsman there.
Well, I mean, Shane obviously batted a long time, and he's not the quickest between the wickets. We couldn't quite see what was happening down the other end where he slipped over, but there's no need to put that sort of pressure on yourselves. No need. They looked like they had it under control, Jadeja and Watson. They'd played so well. They'd got them back in the game. Jadeja looked comfortable. We know he's a very quick runner, but he didn't look sure whether Watson was coming back as well. So obviously there's been a poor decision in the end because the 1 run wasn't worth it. If Watson had been in, they would have won the game. Simple as that.
Deep.
And I just have a feeling what happened in Malinga's 3rd over with Watson hitting him for 20 odd. Maybe there was, in double mind, he wanted to take a single and realized, you know what, I've taken Malinga on the last over, let me be on strike. So maybe it was like, should I not? And in the end decided to get back on strike, maybe because, he had more confidence.
So
with himself.
he should be taking the second run on, is what you're saying?
I thought the second run was on.
Right, but the indecision cost Shane Watson.
I mean,
Second
I thought
run
it
has to be on
actually,
strike.
Couldn't quite see actually what happened at the
yeah.
non-striker end. Like
But
Dan
the
said,
way it all finished, I mean, we could see Jadeja kind of hanging around, yes, no, and in the end, obviously, he was short.
Yeah, and well done to Krunal Pandya, who's just come off a shocker of an over himself and managed to get the throw spot on.
And well done to de Kock.
And well done to
after
Quinton
leaving
de Kock to hold on to 1 and get it. Because so much that's happened. But I'll go to the first 3 balls that set it up. Because when you got 9 to defend, we've seen games over in 2 balls when you got 9 to defend. Sometimes 1 ball if you get the first one wrong and it goes chest high. He's developed, Ajit, this alternate mode of line of attack, which is this right arm round. Tried it, I think bowling to 100 Russell was the first time I saw it this season, which is quite late in the season. He's just backed himself to go round the wicket to Watson after he's been hit for 20 in the previous over. Just take me through what goes into working into that sort of play.
I think you look at what your best option is. Over the stumps, maybe Malinga at his peak does it. And in fact, Bumrah, I think after that match, said there was a little bit of reverse. So at his peak, he would have gone over the stumps. Here, if there was a little bit of reverse and if it is tailing a bit, from round the stumps with his angle of his arm, if he gets it right, it's going to cramp him even more and it's going to be quite low and quite difficult to whack it, even though he's done it before, Watson. It was just the execution. I think how full every ball was, and yes, there were a couple of full tosses, but when they're dipping a little bit with a reverse swinging ball, it's quite hard to get under them. So, well thought out plan. I think that was his best option against Watson at that point. I don't think anywhere else he might have been able to stop him. But the execution was just sensational. I mean, it's not a surprise. Maybe it's a little bit of surprise at this stage of his career, but he's done it a million times, like I said before.
Yeah, and we talk about Bumrah again, execution. His plan was different. 2 bowlers, different stages of their career, but Bumrah at his best with 18 of 12, which is also not much. Let's not forget his penultimate over 2, which kept them in the game. Gets the wicket of Dwayne Bravo, and but for the Quinton de Kock over, that over's going for Quinton de Kock 4 byes, that's going for just 5. Just take me through the Bumrah over.
I mean, he just backs himself, what he's good at. I mean, he's got pace, he hits the hard length, especially against, a lower order batsman. And, I mean, he beats batsmen by his sheer pace. I mean, we keep talking about his, his action and all, but it's normal now.
Yeah.
We've seen, I mean, most of the batsmen have played him before, so his action is not the X factor anymore. It's him, the bowler, his mind, his temperament, and obviously his skills. I mean, he's brilliant.
What he's beating is not just the batsman. If you're a wicketkeeper and you see the ball thudding into
Scary.
your gloves, 145, Quinton de Kock's probably the best hands in the business. to
Yeah,
pace
one of the
bowling.
best hands.
And he's seeing the ball.
And that was not the first time.
Yeah.
The ball before
Yes.
that, it thudded in, and he had to actually react.
Well, explain that moment. Is it just one of the? I mean, explain it.
See, the thing is, at times the ball comes in quicker than you think it is. And that's what happened there. And it just kept climbing on de Kock. I thought de Kock thought it would stop somewhere climbing and the trajectory is going to come down, and just went climbing.
If you were there, I don't know if we couldn't see from
I've
pictures,
done,
but if you were there,
I've missed quite a few.
no, but if you were there, would you take a step back, or maybe
No,
another
no,
step
no,
back,
you-
just
no,
sort of
no,
because
no.
of how hard he's hitting?
See, there are a few bowlers which, they keep moving even after the ball has crossed the stump. I remember Zach used to be one of those bowlers, Ajit at times. It won't stop climbing on you at times. So, and Bumrah seems to be one of those bowlers. It just keeps moving around, wobbling around.
Okay, that from a wicketkeeper about a wicketkeeper today. Let's go to the over before that and ask a left-arm spinner about the left-arm spinner being used in the 18th over today. Daniel Vettori, you saw Krunal Pandya get the ball and you said no.
I think we've seen it too often now with spinners that late. They can do such a good job early on, and batsmen are not looking to be as aggressive. In that situation, Shane Watson's looking to hit every ball for six, and Krunal Pandya wanted to bowl wide Yorkers. And so that just is a recipe for Watson being at his best. And we saw a great shot over cover, we saw him use his feet, we saw him hit him over mid-wicket. So I think Watson, in his mind, knew, I've got to go now, this is the time. Where if it had been a fast bowler, then there may have been a little bit more apprehension. But as soon as the spinner comes on, it's all go. And it's so difficult for a spinner there to hit his Yorker, to be inch perfect, and he missed. He only missed 3 times.
Yep.
The whole 3 went for 6, and that's the hardest thing. A fast bowler can miss and get away with it. More often than not, if a spinner misses that far down the innings, then it's going to go for 4 or 6.
Especially when Shane Watson's batting in that sort of phase, in that sort of mood. He was imperious towards the end. It looked like, with the way Mumbai's fielders were helping him around, the only way he'd get out is if he fell short at this age, his tender age of 37, if he fell a couple of inches short. So let's talk about Shane Watson's innings, shall we? He almost made Mumbai pay. In fact, we had all the numbers ready to say Watson makes Mumbai pay, and then he's just fallen short. 80 of 59. He had his share of luck, 3 chances in it, and we almost have spoken more of Shane Watson than perhaps any other player this season of CSK in terms of criticism and whatnot. Dan, just the innings itself of Watson, what do you take away from it?
Well, I think once again he had a total that he knew he could settle into, and he took his time. I think he was striking under 100 for an extended period of time. So, look, I think it was just the perfect scenario for him to get himself in and then to take it on. And once again, he picked his targets. He knew he could get Malinga, he knew he could get Krunal Pandya, and he was aggressive. And he just built and built and built. And whilst he didn't get a lot of support really around there, he was able to stick in there. And kept taking the right options. And I think this is where you reward the CSK team in terms of that continuity of selection when, as they've talked about a lot, at some stage our big players will come through for us, and Watson in the last 3 to 4 games has been that big player that's come through.
Yeah, the next highest score was 26 for Faf du Plessis, so there was literally nothing else. Only one more player, that's Dwayne
the
Bravo,
guy
got double
scored
figures.
80 out of 148, and the teams ended up losing by 1 run. So.
And if you think about those 80 runs, almost 40 of them came off 12 deliveries, roughly. Right? Yeah. So, I mean, if you think about it, I mean, it's basically good planning again, which bowler to take on.
Yeah, 8 fours, 4 sixes, so that's 32 and 24, so 56 runs in boundaries of 12 balls. That's Shane Watson taking his time. He has done it before in a final though. So while there continues to be debate around Shane Watson, has he still got it, could Chennai have gone elsewhere, all that. A strike rate of 163 in IPL finals, an average of 78 in 4 IPL finals. This is an older Shane Watson. It looks like, Deep, maybe they can use him just for the final next year. He's a man of the finals.
Yeah, I mean, one thing's for certain, we'll see him next season again.
Yeah, you think so? He's
think
retired from the Big Bash League, Dan. You think Shane Watson's got one more IPL in him?
What's he on? What's his auction price? Then I think that'll be just a factor.
Dan's right. I mean, the scoreboard has dictated that he could play in a certain way. Would he have played the same way if they had to get a 180?
Sure.
Obviously not, but you then don't know whether he can still be successful there. The persistence is okay, but in a final where you have to get 150, you can actually sit back. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Full credit to him. I think the CSK batting in general have let them down this season.
4 crore is what he's on.
Yeah, I think it's enough to come back.
What are the chances he'll go into the auction and perhaps come back richer? We'll find out. But he's made a strong case for another IPL. If he's got it in him, or he doesn't think he's got another big bash league. But let's see if he has another IPL still in him. As we round up the Watson innings, I'll give each of you just one quick line on each of the chances that went down. You can take the Rahul Chair cotton bowled as a spinner. Deep, you can take the first one of Malinga, and Ajit, you can take the last one of Rahul Chair. Right, let's go with you first because that's what happened. Lasith Malinga very early on. Tough catch or just Malinga?
That was very tough.
Yeah.
Went up a long way. It was quarter of a chance.
Just impossible after the over he's bowled.
Yeah, it was a quarter of a chance. I mean, it was basically no man's land between Rahul Chair, who was deep square leg, and Malinga. So I wouldn't really
too harsh. Okay, fine. The other one from Rahul Chair.
He'll be celebrating now.
Yeah.
I think not till that last ball Malinga bowled. It happens in a game. You just hope as a player that it doesn't cost you a game, let alone a final. And it almost did.
That moment as well, Jasprit Bumrah's first ball, he would have had 5 fresh balls.
I think Mumbai would have been well, you never know, but very good chance that Mumbai would have been comfortable winners if that had been taken at that stage.
And the cotton ball ended.
Tough chance. I think there's going to be a lot of guys who are more relieved than triumphant after this game, and it'll take them a while to settle in, and then they can celebrate a little bit later on.
We've gone through 20 minutes nearly. We've had so much incident, just so much cricket. And even before we go to the reviews, I will only ask them one question. Was Mahendra Singh Dhoni out or not? I'm not going to let that one go. If you were Nigel Long, what are you giving? Daniel Vettori says out.
Out. Yeah.
Out. Then Deep Das Gupta?
Out.
Out.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the more you watch it, the eyes play tricks on you, but it looked from that one angle that he was not quite over the line. So, brave decision considering the occasion, the player and the situation of the game, but the right decision.
I'll say that first replay, because it was shown so many times and then zoomed in, it almost looked like the umpire was leaning towards giving it not out, and maybe sometimes you saw just
so basically
something
we
over
saw
the
two
line.
angles, right?
Yeah.
One was the mid-off angle and the other was the run-out angle.
Yeah.
So the mid-off angle kind of showed that he might have been in. The run-out angle was like a little more towards the bowling side, right? So when I
thought it's the other way.
No.
You're saying the mid-off angle saw him as in. The straight on camera.
The straight on camera,
Okay.
the mid-off angle show that he might have been in.
Okay.
The other one, the run-out angle,
Yeah.
which show that he might have been on the line
Or
not. So I think in that case you go with the run-out angle because those cameras are meant to be there for run-outs.
So the mathematics is that it's inconclusive on one, but out on one, therefore out. You're giving that out?
I'm not sure. I won't work through what you said.
out.
Well, that's the lawyer in you, Ranaka.
Which had more pressure, that one or the LBW of last ball? The umpires had a big game.
Yeah, they have.
Well, let's not forget Ishan Kishan,
Yes.
who got the direct hit, possibly
You wouldn't believe it,
match-changing one.
yeah.
I can't think of the last time
Dhoni was run out.
Yeah,
We'll have to dig it up a long time back. Imagine when's the last time he got run out of an overthrow? You see, that's never happened in an IPL final, not certainly at all. But it's done. It's all done. It's all history now. It's not the final that MS Dhoni would have wanted, or not the result that he would have wanted, but it's certainly a final that Mumbai will remember. They made it a habit of coming to Hyderabad and winning finals by 1 run. This one perhaps far more dramatic than the one against another MS Dhoni team in RPS a couple of years back. Let's look back at Dhoni and his team season though. Chennai Super Kings, what sort of season have they had? Defending champions, plenty that was said about them. But we will, in spite of the great things we've said about Shane Watson and the fine innings that he's had, go with a lack of good starts in the power play. It seems like that's been a pattern. And if we're going through this, Ajit, we got 17 innings and Chennai on top for the poorest run rate. Factor in what they had to do at the Chepauk and some low scores. But is that something that they need to look at in also losing the most number of wickets in the power play?
Yeah, they've got to. I mean, I don't think... I think they've overachieved in terms of getting to the finals because MS Dhoni bailed them out a lot of times. The bowling at Chepauk kept teams to a score which was then chaseable or defended low totals at times. The batting hasn't been good enough. I think in finals was another example. The likes of Raidu, Watson himself, leave a couple of innings through the course of the season. Faf was the only guy who looked like in consistent form. Raina, Kedar Jadhav early part of the tournament, then went, obviously till his injury hasn't had. Bravo and Jadeja haven't had much to do with the bat. So their batting's definitely let them down, I think, and eventually cost them the final. MS Dhoni's run out might have had a big factor in it, but you look at the likes of Raina and Raidu, they're important players. Again, letting them down in a smallish chase.
Is there a need for a change in personnel? Now, will Faf du Plessis and Shane Watson be the same opening pair first game next season? They started with Ambati Rayudu after the season he had last year. Do they need more options as reserve openers? Thoughts from you, Dan?
No, I think they can continue with this group. I think the final finally caught them out with their lack of runs. Up until then, they've been able to survive it through a number of different things. But I still believe that they will think that group, particularly the Indian batsmen. I think they'll think that Kedar Yadav can have a better season, Rayudu can have a better season, Suresh Raina can definitely have a better season. So I think that's the group they'll back, and then they'll mix and match with their openers, overseas openers, depending on who's there.
Then I'll take you on the same point. Is there a need for more reserves in the Indian batting deep? Because even when
they already
MS Dhoni
have
was
someone
there-
like Dhruv Shore. He's a really good batsman, youngster from Delhi and all. But what they have to make sure that, Kedar is playing domestic cricket. Rayudu is playing domestic cricket. He's already taken retirement from 4-day cricket. So they've got to make sure that Raina, Rayudu, Kedar are playing domestic cricket. If they're not part of the Indian setup, they have to keep playing cricket right through the next 12 odd months before the next IPL. Because obviously Suresh is a good example of not playing enough cricket coming into IPL. The first half of the IPL was very ordinary for him. Then he started getting some runs. Listen, it's not easy. IPL at this level is not easy. You've got to keep playing cricket there. And with Rayudu not being part of the Indian setup, Kedar, I don't know what's going to happen after World Cup. They've got to keep playing domestic cricket.
Okay. What about the spinners? That's our next point. While they haven't had the most success in the power play with the bat, boy, have the spinners come good for Chennai Super Kings with the ball. Let's have a look at the numbers collectively of Harbhajan Singh, Imran Tahir, Ravindra Jadeja, a little bit of Mitchell Santner in that as well. And in 2019, that is the most number of wickets taken by a spin unit in a single season in the history of the IPL. 62 wickets is 10 better than Kolkata last season, and an economy rate of under 7, a strike rate of 17.4. How much of this needs to be viewed with the lens of the infamous or famous Chepauk pitch, Daniel?
A small amount, but I think that's home advantage. You want to make the most of it, you want to utilise it, and because all three are such good bowlers, they can be used in other wickets, and I think they mixed the match a little bit with Harbhajan, but Jadeja and Imran Tahir were constants throughout the season, and they were absolutely brilliant. And the other factor is that Dhoni just knows how to use them perfectly. He uses them at the right times, great matchups, and a real understanding of when a spin bowler is bowling well, when to use them and when to pull back. He pulled back on Jadeja today because he thought the seamers were a better option, and I think that's what we see from him. He has a real good feel for how his spinners are going.
By the next IPL, Ajit, Imran Tahir will be 40, Harbhajan Singh will be 39, Jadeja's fine, but is there a need for added reinforcement, not just with spin but with the ball, if they do come up and play games at pitches which aren't like the Chepauk?
Seam bowling, they surely can look at. I think Willie is part of their setup.
Lungi and Ngidi and Willie were both
Ngidi, I think, was
injured.
big for them last year. I think Karan Sharma is still...
Karan Sharma is there. They had KM Asif who played a little bit last year.
At the moment you don't quite know what's happening with Imran Tahir and Harbhajan going forward next year. But they'll probably know in the next few months if they are going to be around another season or not. So then you look at replacements. Otherwise, at the moment, especially with their conditions, they have enough in the reserve. Seam bowling is definitely that they'll hope that Ngidi is fit. If that is the case, then it gives you that firepower when you travel away from Chennai. Then it makes the bowling a bit formidable. Sometimes they fell a little bit short this year with their seamers because Chahar was, as well as he was bowling, he was mainly used in the power play or earlier on. And
basically
was
the death
end.
overs.
Yeah, I mean Bravo came good after his injury, which if he can continue then gives them an option. But otherwise they need somebody to bowl towards the end of the innings.
Don't put it past all of them coming up nearing 40 and winning next year's IPL, because that's just a Chennai Super Kings thing, and that's because most conventional wisdom is defied by Mahendra Singh Dhoni, who is our third and final point of Chennai season review. We have arguably seen the best of Dhoni personally with bat, forget tactically because he's brilliant at that every year. But deep 9 innings, 245 runs, strike rate of 185, dismissed just twice, one of them run out, and this is in over 17 to 20, beg your pardon. So brilliant at the death. MS Dhoni, take a few seconds and tell me if this is the best that you've seen Dhoni bat in IPL history.
Yes, without a shadow of doubt. I mean, the way he's batted, I mean, he's the only standout batsman for CSK this season. If you look at his average, or just forget the averages, the number of games that he's actually won with his bat, or been able to put up respectable totals on the board. So I think as a batsman was a standout season for him. I haven't seen him bat as well as this in IPL before.
It's back-to-back IPL seasons with the bat now. What's it about Dhoni and his approach in perhaps this year's IPL that, if you saw, if at all, anything that's different from last year's?
I think he had to do a lot more work than last year. I think there was a Raidu who was in really good form last year. There was Raina who got some runs. Watson was not as, didn't have as tough a season as he did this year. So there were guys around him who were doing okay. This year he's had to a lot of the games they've been in trouble. I mean, you look at the batting numbers, and he's had to come when there were a lot more runs required. Usually he's fine, or he usually comes in when there's about 60, 50, 60, 70 required. There were times when the RCB game is a classic example. They lost by a run, but single-handedly got that 84 to get them anywhere close. And he's played quite a few of those innings, which made it an even better season, because most games when you've had to do it on your own is always a lot tougher. I mean, if you have help around, guys around you, you don't really necessarily worry. That's why, for me, I think it was much better than last season, because of the amount of games he had to do it on his own.
Brilliant with the bat and very good with the gloves. I can't remember a time where he put one down this season, MS Dhoni. But we're just going to have a quick look at the most dismissals as a wicketkeeper in IPL, and it is after he's taken the catch today of Rohit Sharma that he's gone to 132, pipping Dinesh Karthik for the most dismissals in the history of the tournament. There's one thing that you think, or rather the most important thing that Dhoni would want to take away from this season, from next year, Daniel, if you're sitting with the leadership group, if you're Stephen Fleming right now talking to Dhoni, what about this season would perhaps hurt most, and what is it that he'd want to fix first up next season, if you were to think about it?
It's hard to be...
To pinpoint?
To feel like the season is... They made the final. They were one ball away from winning. So I'd hate for it to be a review around what went wrong, because it was a magical season for them. They played so well. They were consistent, and they deserved to be in the final. And just like Mumbai, they've been two of the two best teams so far in the IPL. So I don't think they're going to sit around and say, what could we have done better, because they got so close. Because they always expect improvement, irrespective of who's there. So I think, like we talked about before, it'll be those three Indian batsmen, that middle order. If they come back to their normal self, then Chennai is dangerous once again.
Now the tricky part about this is the fact that all these contracts are for 3 years. So next year they'll complete the 3 years. So they will only have a big auction 2 years from now. So next year it's not going to be a big auction. It's going to be a smaller auction, and obviously the talent pool available will also be smaller. So that's the tricky part for CSK. So what do they do? I mean, do they change now or hold on for another year and wait for the big auction or not? So that'll be the tricky question.
There might be a lot more Aussies in the auction next year. They all pulled out this season, but we'll see what sort of reinforcements MS Dhoni and CSK look at for the next IPL. But like Dan quite nicely points out, it's not necessarily been a season that they need to be disappointed with. They made the final nearly won it of the last ball. So how do we review Mumbai Indians season then, who have won the final, perhaps stolen it of the last ball in the way that that game was going towards the end with Shane Watson? But we look back at Rohit Sharma's team's review, and we start with Rohit Sharma at the top, because what we see a consistent opening stand, and I'm quite surprised to see that, because you come to just think of Mumbai season and you think Rohit Sharma's, they won it without Rohit Sharma having that one sensational innings. He's won a couple of Man of the Match awards, but 15 innings, 565 runs puts them second only to the brilliance of Johnny Bairstow and David Warner. I'm not sure if you're looking at that and you're saying that that was one of the reasons for our success, but how important was this new combination of Quinton de Kock, who was traded from Bangalore, along with Rohit Sharma?
I mean, if you ask both of them, I'm sure they would have wanted to do a bit more.
Yeah.
But they're such a formidable team. The batting, I mean, just goes on and on forever. We found that in the final. Pollard at the end there got them just about enough. Enough stands, but not. I don't think, like you said, no standout innings or no big innings where an opener. And generally, most teams will have that because your top three do bulk of the scoring. I know Mumbai's got a bit more firepower at that 4, 5, 6, 7. Plenty of batting there, so that helps. But we almost associate Rohit with winning at least 2 or 3 games on his own, which hasn't been the case this year. Got a good 50 against Chennai in that first playoff, which was an important one. But apart from that, nothing stands out. But there are enough runs there, so obviously they've been doing their job quietly. Maybe not as doesn't stand out because of the other performances in the team.
Yeah, the 50 against Chennai was in the group stage, in the league stage, and got a decent 50 against KKR. So that's two of Rohit Sharma's half centuries this innings. But especially that sort of innings, Deep, after he announced himself as opener for the entire, you'd expect to have a bigger season from Rohit Sharma.
You do, but you can have one of these average seasons like Rohit had.
It's not a bad one, but you're saying average.
Yeah, average. It wasn't a bad season, average season, but yeah, you expect more from him. Especially the kind of batsman he is and the kind of form that he's been with in white ball cricket for the last couple of years. But end of the day, I mean, they give good starts. If you look at that, on an average, you take 38 for 1 or 39 for 1 as a team in the power play, you take it. So I think from that perspective, yeah, I mean, he didn't have a prolific season, but as an opening pair, they still did their job.
Quinton de Kock ends as the season's highest run getter. That's a good trade from Bangalore. Well done to them.
Highest run getter for Mumbai.
For Mumbai,
yeah. I mean, he had a fantastic season. And I think his consistency was the best bit about that opening partnership, that he was a run scorer in almost every game. It felt like de Kock was always there at the start to get them off to a good start, and that coupled with his wicket keeping made him one of Mumbai's most valuable players, and I know there was a lot to choose from.
So you've got to wonder why RCB would strengthen some other team. I mean that's become a key player for Mumbai. So
it wasn't a trade either, was it?
Was a trade.
No, it was a trade.
I mean, it wasn't a two-way
a swap,
trade.
yeah.
Exactly.
Sold
Bangalore had a
player.
good enough team. They didn't need anybody. Right.
No, the issue with RCB, I believe, was too many openers, isn't it? There were like 5-6 openers last year for RCB,
and this year they didn't have anyone. So.
yeah.
They don't have too many wicket keepers.
No, I
either.
will work for
Let's
Mumbai.
talk about Mumbai.
Hardik Pandya's finishing cameos. Let's go straight to that then. And while he may not have had the sort of impact he would have wanted, got a few lusty blows even in the final. But what a season it's been for Hardik Pandya. His best season in IPL cricket with the bat. We'll dig out the numbers for you. The highest batting strike rate in overs 18 and 19. And again, but for the ridiculous freak of nature that Andre Russell is, 263 should end with with you winning the gold medal. A decent average too. It's been a different Hardik Pandya that we've seen Deep this season.
Yeah.
Try and bat differently, different technique.
Yeah.
Just thoughts on what he's done and that's been successful for him this season?
I think he's more stable, I believe. I think he's, if you look at his hitting technique as such, he's more stable now. The good part is he's hitting all kinds of bowlers. It's not only spinners that he's going after. He's consistently hitting the fast bowlers as well.
Yeah.
Different lengths. It's not just obviously setting himself up for the Yorker length, but then even the shorter ones or the good length ones as well, he's hitting them. I mean, that's great news. I mean, we always knew that he's had that ability before as well, but now I think he's doing it more consistently because obviously his technique has got better, hitting technique has got better.
Yeah, it's probably 4 or 6 points on his own that he would have taken to Mumbai after batting alone when the top order had gone down. It's a big season for Hardik Pandya after some issues that he's had personally off the field. It's a very good season.
It's a brilliant season, and all bodes well from heading towards the World Cup. I know he bowled quite a bit and took wickets. He was slightly expensive, but an all-round season that was exceptional. And as you rightly say, it would have been the best season you would have seen, apart from Andre Russell, how well he did this year. So, I mean, he's another one of those standout players and one of the reasons they've made it through this final and done so well. So, look, we always commend Mumbai on their scouting, their selection, but the Pandya brothers are the pinnacle of that, and they've paid off for them ever since they've been in Mumbai colours.
There could have been a temptation to perhaps use Hardik Pandya more with the sort of hitting abilities that Andre Russell's been, it's maybe not the right word, but he's been whining about batting more at KKR and he got his wish when needed. Have Mumbai used him to their optimum use in your opinion? Can it be translated to India using him any differently?
15 innings, 400 runs, yeah. No, I think it's because they've got enough players at the top. I think KKR's story was a bit different. I think they could have used Andre Russell at times when they kept pushing him down. So shouldn't compare because Mumbai's team is a lot more formidable. I mean, if you look at Surya Kumar Yadav, initially there was Yuvraj Singh and then Ishan Kishan who both have hitting ability. And if that didn't work, he usually did come number 5. So no, they've used him well. It's worked for them. He's had a massive season and a massive impact. 4 to 6 points at least. Almost won that KKR game as well, chasing 230 odd on his own. So, yeah, good signs for India. I mean, if he continues that sort of form.
Okay, review from Lasith Malinga and Jasprit Bumrah. They have to end Mumbai's season because, but for Bumrah and Malinga, this would not have been a successful season when you narrow it down to just the last 3 overs of the IPL final. And we're going to have a look at the numbers firstly. And Malinga and Bumrah, most wickets in over 17 to 20. You got Bumrah going at 7.67 and getting 13 wickets. Class that he is. It's going to be hard to say something we haven't said already in praise of Jasprit Bumrah. But Lasith Malinga with 11 wickets at an economy of 10. Dan, what do you look back as Lasith Malinga? If you're going to plan for Lasith Malinga going forward now, are you going to say that this guy's won us the final by bowling that brilliant last over? Are you going to say there are still issues or areas that we need to look at when Malinga comes down next year when he's going to be 36 years old?
He's definitely coming back. I think he's a special part of the franchise. Even when he wasn't picked up the auction, they used him as a bowling mentor. So I think he's got a blueprint for how he wants to bowl in these situations. And I think, like we've talked about in the past, that it looks like him and Shane Bond have planned exceptionally well. They've tried some different things coming around the wicket. They've been really specific against individual batsmen. And then, as we saw in the last over today, he still has the ability to execute. And no matter what age he is, if you can do that, even if his pace is down a little bit, if he can execute like that, then he has a place in any T20 side and he can do a job.
If he doesn't come back as a player, it will be 3 bowling coaches that Mumbai Indians have. Shane Bond, Zaid Khan and Malinga. Not a bad lineup.
You're bringing him back though? Or you'll have to wait and see what Malinga's bowling like next year?
I mean, I don't know whether he'd be keen to after the World Cup. You never know. Sometimes you just feel you don't want to continue doing this hard job.
Oh, yeah.
So, but the way he's bowled that last over tells you, experience. And if he can manage himself well, suddenly, he was. I don't think he was fit enough last year when they didn't pick him. And suddenly in a year's time, he's been superb. So who knows? If he continues this sort of form, you'll definitely have him as a player.
Yeah. If he is to end, no better way to end it. This is as high as you can get, lifted by Kieron Pollard, so literally as well 10 feet in the air. But if you look back quickly and compare Mumbai's death bowling to every other team, including Chennai who made the final, I think other than Delhi with Rabada and Morris early on, there's no other team we can say that they solved their death bowling issues. And Mumbai are one team that have clearly been above the others in that aspect.
I mean, come on, even on paper, if you're in the opposition and look at, death overs, 4 overs from Bumrah and Malinga, I mean, that's quite formidable. I mean, just looking at those names there and knowing that they're going to bowl in the death. Leave aside Rabada and Bumrah. I mean, he was as good as anyone else in this tournament.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, we keep comparing Malinga to what he was maybe a few years ago, but then even if you just take him out as an individual and not look at his past records, you still say, he's good enough. But again, I mean, he's close to 40. Wait for another 6-7 months and figure out how is he doing. I mean, I'm sure he's going to play, domestic T20 tournaments all over the world.
All right. It's a wrap for Mumbai's review. We'll see what happens next season, but you think Jasprit Bumrah might come back and never be left ever by Mumbai Indians for eternity. The season's over. Curtains have come down. Another exciting IPL. Look back at the orange cap and purple cap holders very quickly as we round the conversation up. It's amazing, Daniel, that David Warner in 12 innings has managed to get nearly 100 more runs than everybody else who's got 14, 16 and whatnot after the year that he has had away from top-profile, top-flight cricket.
Well, I mean, he stands out, and Andre Russell stands out on that list as well for the volume of runs. But I think Warner in particular, coming from almost nothing, I don't think his BPL form was that great, so that was his last competitive cricket before he turned up for the IPL. But he loves playing Hyderabad, he loves that wicket, and he found a formidable opening partner in Johnny Bairstow, and they proved to be decisive in the early part of Hyderabad's season, and that was the reason they made the playoffs, albeit with 6 wins. But because of the way that David Warner batted, and it was great to watch. I think he's one of those guys that people love watching him bat, and because he does it in such different ways, and he tries to win the game. And I think more often than not, he does it. And he's so consistent. It's amazing to watch.
Yeah, we rest assured there'll be all of David Warner next year. And imagine if he was part of that eliminator, perhaps that would have been a different story.
I mean, he made Dan's tournament.
Yeah, who came here with the sole agenda that I want a team winning with 6
in,
wins into the playoffs. I want a team getting in with 6 wins because that's what he's going to put in his resume for next year's IPL. When there are going to be a few vacancies, you think? But if you don't apply, Dan, because you've loved this, I'm sure you'll be back here.
I'm here.
Of course you'll be here.
This is way easier than coaching.
I've seen these New Zealand coaches can do both as well. You've seen Michael Hesson do one and the other, maybe Vettori as well. Anyway, Bubble Gap. Who's won it? Kagiso Rabada was excellent, but Imran Tahir has just pipped him. Again, it was almost a similar story. It would have been amazing to have Rabada and Warner win with just 12 innings. But Imran Tahir, 26 wickets, about 100-meter run for each, so 2,600 meters covered while celebrating those 26 wickets at an average of 17 and economy of just under 7. Deserved winner? Or would you like, if Rabada would have played on, that would have been his to take?
Yeah, I mean, wickets, Rabada was likely to get more. Who knows, he might have had a big say in that second qualifier against Chennai as well. But Tahir's done it all season. I think he's been Dhoni's go-to bowler, especially after those 6 overs. He's not only bowled economically, under 7 runs and over, but got the wickets. And when big wickets, even in the finals, the big wickets in the middle of the innings is what's kept Chennai always in the game. So no, deserve it.
Okay, leave out top batter, leave out top bowler. If I have to ask you for the single most impactful player who would probably be man of the series, where would you go? Andre Russell, Hardik Pandya?
Russell.
Yep, most single individual impact.
I'm going to go Bumrah actually.
You're going to go Bumrah, right? Dan Vettori?
I think the volume of runs just tips Andre Russell over, but I think Bumrah has been so valuable. I mean, I think he would be your first pick player if he started again in an auction or a franchise. He's that valuable.
He's not coming to auction. No chance.
Never. Yeah.
No, not taking anything away from Andre Russell. It's just for a bowler to have that kind of impact.
Yep. Brilliant. That is the end of that. Let's have a quick look at the Fab 4 winners too. And we're going to
today, actually.
Daniel Vettori, who picked Shane Watson, might have saved him actually. 175 points to Vettori. Let's move
good
on.
send-off.
Yeah, let's move on. Number 2, Ajit Agarkar, just 100 short. He was close though.
I should get about 100 points for that Malinga's last
I
over.
agree. Maybe minus 80 from Suresh Raina.
Yeah, give me 100. Dan still wins. So.
Okay, Deep Das Gupta, very good from him, 161. He's just fallen short. We don't need to see any more scores, do we?
Nah, go on.
Oh! No. Have I won? What did you get then?
175,
Oh,
165, that's 10 points left.
Yeah,
so
that's
you
not
haven't
so
won.
bad. Thank you for that. Rahul Chair, had you taken those 2 catches? Yeah, anyway.
Oh, so you basically copied Dan.
No, I didn't.
Watson, Bumrah.
No, that was Dan's again.
Oh, okay.
So that's 175. If Rahul Chair takes... Anyway, screw it. Did you enjoy yourself?
Had a lot of fun.
All right, we'll look forward to having your company on ESPN Cricinfo again soon. In fact, not too long because you'll be with us for the World Cup.
I will. I'll see you then.
Yep. Deep Das Gupta, thank you very much. Always a pleasure. Ajit Agarkar,
Thank you.
we're never going to see the end of you on ESPN Cricinfo.
It doesn't look like at the moment.
Absolutely. We can't get enough of you either. Gentlemen, it's been a treat. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank all of you as well for joining us for our extensive coverage around the IPL 2019. I hope you've enjoyed it, not just ESPN Cricinfo Matchday T20, but all our video and text offerings that we try and do to make your IPL experience that much better. Make sure you catch your daily ESPN Cricinfo news on your Google Home, as well as on, if you're on your phone, then on your Google Assistant. What a season. It's going to be hard to match this one up, but never rule the IPL out to give you a couple of surprises. Story on the night of the IPL final is that Mumbai Indians have won it for a 4th time and become the most successful team in the tournament's history.